Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting show set up for you. Yep, Michigan receives their notice of allegations, and Paul Feinbaum has plenty of opinions on it. And I think Connor's finally happy this isn't totally about him. And I can understand why. It's not been a good time for Connor. But this, I call this Burgergate, because this is about some cheeseburgers and things along those lines. But the NCAA plans on hammering Jim Harbaugh over it. That's pretty obvious. And we're going to get into this. And this is on ESPN by Adam Rittenberg. It says Michigan receives NCAA notice of allegations for recruiting violations. And Adam writes, Michigan has received their allegations, and it has to do with the recruiting dead period. Said according to sources, Jim Harbaugh faces a level 1 violation for allegedly not cooperating with or misleading NCAA investigators about the alleged violations. And he also faces 4 level 2 violations, which are considered less serious. Let me cut to the chase on this part of it. What it boils down to is he bought some cheeseburgers for some guys and had some communications with players during the dead period. And what they're really trying to hammer him on is that he disrespected them and said, I don't even want to talk to him about this crap. Now, I don't even remember those cheeseburgers and that sort of thing. And so that makes him mad up there at the NCAA headquarters. So that's when they hit you with level 1. I happen to know a lot about this because this happened to Bruce Pearl, our basketball coach, who was very good and wound up getting a 3-year show cause over it because he had bought a barbecue. Well, he had a barbecue at his house, and there was a player there that shouldn't have been there. You know how the NCAA's got all these archaic rules. You can't be at this barbecue, but you can be at this one, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. But anyway, he was at the barbecue, and they asked Bruce Pearl about it, and he said he was not there, and then pictures showed up online that he was there. Liar! So they absolutely leveled him over it. Now, had he just said, yeah, he was at the barbecue, what's the big deal? They would have just done that. But because he didn't tell the truth about it, they hammered him with a 3-year show cause. And it probably cost him about 10, 15 million bucks and really hurt our basketball team for several years. Now, it's been better under Rick Barnes, but look, everybody really liked Bruce Pearl. He was very popular. He's basically the mayor of Knoxville at the time. And so this is the type of thing that irritates me about the NCAA, especially when you've got something serious to worry about, which is the Connor Stalions deal where he was allegedly stealing the signs and then using that for advantage on the field, which obviously really helped him. But they're not worried about that. They're worried about these cheeseburgers. I got an idea, NCAA. Why don't you worry about the serious stuff? It's right there. Right there!
Oh, there.
Exactly. It's right there. But no, we got to sit here and worry about Burgergate. So let's get into this. And what happened, Michigan self-imposed penalties. It was a 3-game is what they self-imposed, but NCAA wanted a 4-game suspension. And in August, they took the unusual step of issuing a statement during an ongoing investigation about the severity of the alleged violations. It says the Michigan infractions case is related to impermissible on and off campus recruiting during the dead period and impermissible coaching activities, not a cheeseburger. They don't like that. They do not want it called a cheeseburger. That's really what it's about.
Where's the beef? Where's the beef?
For the most part. Now, I think they had said something about he was trying to make sure the players were exercising during that time. Maybe there was some impermissible stuff on that, trying to keep them in shape. But I think it boils down to they're mad. He disrespected them, and he may very well have lied to them. So the NCAA vice president didn't appreciate it. Said it is not uncommon for the committee to seek clarification on key facts prior to accepting the COI, which I guess is the negotiated resolution. Said if the involved parties cannot resolve a case through negotiated process, it may proceed to a hearing, which I guess this is what we're headed to, because they want 4 games instead of 3. And Jim Harbaugh, he has been suspended a lot. 3 games at the first of the season, 3 games at the end of the season by the Big Ten.
Now here at The Rock, we have 2 basic rules.
Because the other coaches went crazy over the Connor Stalions stuff. The other coaches don't care about this cheeseburger stuff. They care about the Connor Stalions thing because that affected them directly, and they're very angry about it. Said in January, Michigan received a draft notice allegations of the level blah blah blah. This is the cheeseburger thing. They face a second NCAA investigation for the prohibited off-campus scouting and signal stealing alleged led by former staff member Connor Stalions, who resigned November 4th. Also, Michigan has not received a notice of allegations in that case, which is what they need to be focused on. So the Big Ten imposed 3-game suspension, which the coach served the final regular 3 games. He could be charged as a repeat violator under head coach responsibility as a level 1 charge. Yeah, they're going to drop the hammer on him at some point. They have 90 days to respond to the notice of allegations, so on and so forth. So we've got ourselves a whole lot going on, and they went ahead and did this 4 days before Christmas and hit him with the notice, I guess as a special Christmas present to him. And needless to say, Brutus doesn't mind it at all. No, he's fine with it. He's like, go ahead and hammer the dude, because they're not happy. I can tell you the other teams in the Big Ten are not happy. They are ticked off. They feel very cheated, and they could care less about the cheeseburger thing. I don't think they care about that at all. But I do think they care about the Connor Stalions things, because they literally wore out the commissioner of Big Ten. They were screaming and yelling at him in a private Zoom meeting. One guy totally lost it, got all emotional because he felt like his players had been cheated. So that's what they care about. Now let's talk about Paul Feinbaum, and this is in the Detroit Free Press. It said Paul Feinbaum calls Michigan football's Jim Harbaugh a dinosaur in a changing world. And Feinbaum says, I think he's somewhat of a dinosaur. Said, like many, I'll be surprised if he's there whenever Michigan's season ends, because I think there's too much baggage built up. So the second suspension was the one that Feinbaum was focused on, because it became the biggest story in all of college football with the alleged sign-stealing scheme. And it talked about the 3-game suspension. Said because the ongoing NCAA investigation into sign stealing, Feinbaum believes would be wise to leave, because in his eyes, he and the NCAA are at odds with one another. He thinks he should go to the NFL. He says, I do believe that there are at least some people at the University of Michigan with integrity. That's a slap. That is a slap. And who believe that what he's been accused of, he's not going to be able to get away with it. I also have very little faith in, if any, in the NCAA, but these two just seem to be on a collision course. And what I saw from Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti a couple of weeks ago was unique. You usually don't see that from a conference office. Instead, you see the conference office doing everything they can to protect the universities, regardless of the facts. Now, it says Harbaugh has long been one of the targets to find themselves in Feinbaum's crosshairs as one of the most popular and outspoken voices in college football. And Feinbaum, who's been accused of the unabashed SEC water carrier, there's some truth in that.
How dare you!
But he was getting on Harbaugh being 1-6 in bowl with his bowl record, and calling him sad for labeling Michigan as America's team.
It's got to be America's team.
At the height of the sign-stealing scandal after initially siding with Harbaugh. And Feinbaum's got some bad blood there, because he sided with Harbaugh to begin with and said it was a witch hunt, and then he found out, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of facts there, so he did a 180, and now he's all over him. So there's some animosity there, because he kind of trusted him a little bit, and now he regrets it. And I've seen that out of Feinbaum occasionally. He'll do that. If he feels like you've misled him, he'll come after you. So I think that's kind of what's going on here. And he's becoming more outspoken as he gets older. I've noticed that he'll kind of say what he thinks, which makes him kind of an interesting character. It also means he's going to get a lot of negativity because of that. But I don't think he cares at this point. He's probably just reached a level where he's like, what are you going to do? You know, he's probably in his 60s, and he's like, I'm going to retire at some point. I'm going to say what I really think. And here he says, I initially felt the NCAA was out to get Harbaugh. He said it was amazing how some of the friendly Michigan shows called me. Rich Eisen, hey, can you be on the show today? That all changed when I started getting a better look at what I believe to be the facts, and I reversed my opinion. I think you guys know where I've been since, where most people have been other than Michigan fans. So this is all blowing up today. Again, to me, this is relatively benign. Honestly, I don't think this is that big a deal. It's not the big issue. I think they're going to use it as yet another device to kind of hammer him a little bit. And then when the Connor Stalions thing finally comes out, which who knows when that'll be. I mean, this has been months and months and months over this cheeseburger. So imagine how much time they're going to take over the Connor Stalions thing. Plus, I don't see Connor cooperating easily, because he's a huge Michigan guy. He wrote a 600-page manifesto.
Hello?
You honestly think he's going to walk in there and go, here's all the goods? I kind of doubt it. So it's going to probably take a long time to get to the bottom of all this stuff. And there might even be some side things to do with this, where other teams were helped with these signs that might have been able to help out Michigan get into the playoff. So there's so much going on here. It's probably going to take some time. So we'll see what happens with Harbaugh. There are some NFL teams interested in him, and he may win a natty. He's got to play Alabama first, and then he'll probably have to beat Texas. So to win those two games would be kind of shocking, because they're both really good and they're loaded with talent. And Michigan is a good quality team, but they don't have the speed that Alabama has, and I doubt they have the speed Texas has. So it's going to be pretty darn interesting to watch those. I know everybody and their brother is going to watch that game. And unbelievably, most people will be rooting for Alabama and certainly not Michigan, even though they are America's team.
It's got to be America's team.
So anyway, and oh, by the way, I'm starting to feel better. I watched my last 2 shows where I was sick. It was awful. Thank y'all for being kind to me, but those last 2 shows stunk.
Hey, put yourself down now. You're not good. You stink.
I had no energy. It was just listless, and it was hard to watch, honestly. It's 2 of my worst shows I've ever done. But I do feel better today, and I've got a little bit of energy, and I was able to get some sleep last night. So anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover all this big news, the SEC normally, but this Michigan story is just, man, I can't stop watching it. It's just been incredible. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit this little button right here. Cost you nothing. It'll help you get these videos if you like keeping up with this type of stuff. And right here's a recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.